Recently, I just finished NieR Automata on Nintendo Switch, and I have to talk about this game because I have never experienced anything like this. You know, coming up to its release on the Switch, its port, I'd heard people talking about how much of a masterpiece it was. Everyone was saying the story's incredible, the combat's engaging, all the usual stuff. And hell, even on the box itself, it says over 100 awards and nominations. But at the same time, I was thinking to myself, I'm sure it's going to be a great game, but surely it can't be that good, can it? I mean, I imagined the hype might be blown out of proportion or whatever, and sure, what I'd seen looked good, and it was by Platinum Games, but could it really be that good and to that level? And playing through, because this is the first time I ever played it, I'd heard the name over the years. I'm a Bayonetta fan, and as I started looking into the history of Bayonetta and discovering Platinum Games, the name of NieR Automata eventually came up. So I'd heard about it, and I'd seen some of the images of the characters, but I'd never seen anything of the game before. So I didn't know anything about it going in. All I knew is that it was about robots, since the word automata is in the title, but that's about it. But playing this game, I had a good time at first. I enjoyed it, and for the first playthrough, because there's 3 playthroughs essentially, I was having a great time. I was really enjoying it, but at the same time, it wasn't that incredibly spectacular. It was great fun. I was enjoying myself, and I was having a lot of fun, but I was beginning to wonder, what am I not seeing here that a lot of people are seeing? What is the main hook that's driving people crazy whenever they talk about this game? And then the second playthrough you get to play as the second character, 9S. The pacing fell off a cliff, and I was beginning to wonder, would there be really any difference? Because it was the same story with some minor differences, and obviously 9S, he doesn't control that great. Obviously a deliberate choice, but still, he wasn't that fun to control. That's not to say I didn't enjoy it, don't get me wrong. I had a lot of fun, but at the same time, doing the second playthrough, I was like, this is good, but the pacing's fallen off a cliff. I feel like I've beaten the game and I'm doing it again for no reason. I had a feeling the third playthrough would be A2, because we'd seen her earlier in the game once, and she's on the boxer. I thought it might be set before the game or something, and it would be what she's doing while the other characters are going through the main story. I was wrong. The third route happens and everything changes. The pacing picks right up and the story truly kicks off. That's where the story kicks in, and I was floored immediately. From the get-go, from the first 15 seconds of Route C, everything changes. There's this completely different feeling. The story and intensity and drama has all hyped up, and the entire world just gets flipped on its head, and the world gets changed around, and old locations are kind of new, and it's mind-boggling. And obviously, you have the drama with all the characters and what goes on, and I'm not going to spoil anything. Look, I don't know how many of you have not played this game, but if there is anyone that hasn't played this game, I don't want to spoil it. Even if you're never going to play this game, I'm not going to risk it, because this is a game where you need to experience the story for yourself. I cannot spoil it, because this is an experience, as I'm getting to. As you go through that third playthrough, everything flips on its head, and then it's just one plot twist after another. I think there's something like 8 or 9 plot twists or something. It's crazy, and yet somehow amidst all of that, the story doesn't lose cohesion. In fact, it gains more cohesion. The context is expanded upon, and everything starts to make way more sense in a way it didn't before. And then that final ending, when you get to that final section of the game, and it's just essentially a gauntlet of enemies, and then you're constantly, you know what I'm trying to say, it's just a constant rush as you're going through the end. That was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. It drew a lot of similarities to Astro Chain, because the designer of NieR Automata was the director of that game, and you can see visually how some of NieR inspired Astro Chain. You can see the similarities, especially in like the final level. There's a lot of things that are similar there, but obviously they're still very different at the same time, but there's similarities. And yeah, beating that game and then getting that infamous ending at the end was just mind-boggling. I've never been sent through so many emotions with a work of fiction in my life. Movie, video game, anything. At first I was kind of a bit like, I don't know, this feels kind of a bit anticlimactic and goes against the whole story. But when I was looking beyond that and thinking about the philosophical meaning of everything and how this is a story that comments on the real world while still being a piece of fiction was remarkable. It's been 3 days since I finished it, and I'm still thinking to myself of all the ways it connects and how this game is a comment on who we are as people and the world around us and the meaning we give to our lives. It's incredibly profound and meta. And obviously that final ending, if you know it, is a clear example of that. This game is truly profound in every possible way. Sure, maybe there's stories better written in it. Maybe there's games that are more fun to play. But out of anything I've ever experienced, and that seems to be the case for a lot of people as well, this is up there. There is nothing else like this I've ever played. My opinion has changed. In the beginning, I was like, this is a fun game, but, it's grand. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's a lot of fun. To having beaten the game now and reflecting on the story, just for the story alone, I have to consider this a masterpiece. I have issues, sure, with the combat not being that in-depth and being, not focusing on combos and stuff, but for the story, for the character development, the music, the art, the emotion it inflicts, because this is a game that's just raw emotion and thought. It comments on who we are as people. It forces us to empathize with the characters and see ourselves in them and see how it all ties with the real world, and in this constant twisting of expectations and subversion and plot twists. It's truly extraordinary. There's nothing like it, and I only have one regret with this game, and that's that I finished it, because I can't experience that for the first time ever again. That's it. Sure, I can play the game whenever I want now, but that first experience is everything, and I am a bit gutted that I will never get to experience that for the first time again, because there's nothing like that. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to move on to other games after this. Sure, they might play better and stuff, but the story alone, this is way up here, and every other game is down here, even if they're fantastic. So it's how am I ever going to compare anything to this again? It's ridiculous when you really start piecing things. And sure, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and you got to look to manga and musicals and stuff to get a lot of the other answers. But for what the story does get across to you, extraordinary, truly profound. I see now what all of the hype is. This is really a game you have to stick with and constantly push yourself forward to get the full meaning and understanding of. And it all ties together in the end in this way that's truly beautiful and self-aware and reflective and all of these things. When I beat this game, I went outside shortly afterwards. Went out for a walk, and for the first time ever after beating a video game, I felt very alive. Walking outside, feeling the fresh air on my face, taking in my surroundings and what it means to be alive. I have never experienced that with any work of fiction I've experienced. Sure, my range for that metric is very limited. I'm not looking at a lot of, award-winning dramas and masterpieces and things like that. So, that's part of the reason. I go for a lot of entertainment that's spectacle-driven. So this is kind of somewhat of a exception there, even though it is spectacle-driven. But even still, this has left an insane feeling on me. It's given me all the feelings people have warned about, you'll be depressed and heartbroken when you beat the game and all that sort of stuff. Certain scenes and character moments will stick in your head, absolutely. But just the feeling of this being this extraordinary work of art that I'll never be able to experience for the first time again, it's almost like this backhanded cruelty in a way. I would literally give anything to experience this for the first time again. I want to feel all those emotions, the sadness, the heartbreak, the joy, because this is on a whole other level. I don't even know what you could possibly compare to it. It is extraordinary. I don't even know how to do a proper review. Originally I was going to do a review, but for this video I just needed to talk about it. Maybe I'll do an actual review next, but for right now I just need to talk and gather my thoughts because I can't move on. My mind is so focused, hyper-focused on this game. It truly left me speechless. It got me very emotional multiple times throughout. It made me care whenever something happened to character. It made me just speechless, seeing how much development there was there and how it's not just a story for being a story. There's real themes and ideas and concepts that are posed to the player just as much as they are to the characters. The interactivity is really justified with this being a video game. How it transcends the fourth wall and becomes so self-aware. I don't even know what else to say. NieR Automata is phenomenal, and I'm so glad I played this game because this was an experience. This wasn't just a let's play of a game and just another game I'm playing. This was an experience, a work of art. And I don't know if I'll ever be ready to move on, to be honest, but yeah. I had to get my thoughts out there on the game. It took me a month to talk about it, a month to get to this point, but I was taking my time. I was enjoying the game for what it was. As I said, the pacing dipped through the second act of the game, so I wasn't playing it as much simply for that reason, but even still, when it picks up, it seriously picks up. But I'm hoping a lot of you have played the game and understand this feeling. But for those of you who have not played this game, play it. I don't care how, if it's on Switch or PC or PlayStation, find some fucking way because you need to play this game if you have any interest in video game storytelling. Because this is unrivaled. There is nothing on this level of profound meta commentary. It's a timeless modern classic is what it is. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of all this? Have you played NieR Automata? Has anything I said make sense? Have I convinced you to pick up the game? What were your feelings with the game? Were you as impacted as I was? How did you feel about the different endings, all that? I want to hear everything you have to say down in the comment section below. And with that all said, glory to mankind.